Stan Lee with Marvel was a genius. He created characters and came up with the most elaborate names. He had a guy on a surfboard who was silver and he called him Silver Surfer. And let's not forget about the woman who could turn invisible, which he aptly named Invisible Woman. And then he created a guy that watched people, and he named him the Watcher. Hashtag genius at work. As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we are giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey everybody, welcome to the Extreme channel. My name is Mr. X. We're all about extreme collectibles here, and today we're looking at a custom Watcher statue. That's right, this is a custom. It was a private unlicensed commission. They actually only made 38 of these. Why 38? Try and figure that out and put it in the comments below. Now, as I said, this is Uata, the Watcher. So the Watcher is most well known in Marvel for two things. One, his interactions with the Fantastic Four. We're going to talk about that. And then, of course, What If. Now, recently, Disney Plus launched the What If series. I wasn't a huge fan of this, but I thought it was okay. I loved the What If comics growing up, though. I had a ton of them, and I recently bought What If Omnibus 1. So I'm going to get to that. And if you don't know what an omnibus is, that's a whole bunch of comics put together in a hardback cover. I really wanted this statue because it's going to go with my Fantastic Four setup. Because as I said, Uata is actually closely related to the Fantastic Four, especially Galactus and Silver Surfer, my favorite character. I have tons of Silver Surfer statues. You can actually check out this countdown right here. And he's going to go with the cosmic collection of Fantastic Four, Dr. Doom, Silver Surfer, Namor, and more. If you want to see what he looks like in the collection, make sure to check out the Extreme channel social media. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. The link for those is in the description below. But anyway, he was most well known when Galactus came to consume Earth. Started out in Fantastic Four number 48, which is actually a slab that I'm going to put right next to this guy. He's only allowed to watch. He doesn't like to interfere. But this time, he broke the rules a little bit. He told the Fantastic Four, Johnny Storm, how to get a device. The ultimate nullifier, which is the most powerful weapon in the Marvel Universe, and that would stop Galactus. And in fact, it did. Now, they didn't have to use the ultimate nullifier, just the threat of Reed Richards using it on Galactus got Galactus to spare Earth. And you're actually going to see that in the statue here, because we're doing a review on this guy. And we're going to start out with concept of this piece, and I absolutely love this concept. Like I said, I can't wait to see what this looks like next to Galactus, Silver Surfer, and the Fantastic Four. But on the bottom here, they did some type of planet. Now, while it looks very moon-like, our moon, this is a cosmic being, so it could be any planet that's out there, and we assume it's not our moon because you see Earth in the background. Now, maybe he is standing on our moon, and that's just insinuating that Earth is farther away. It's more of a conceptual base, but Earth is smaller than the planet-like structure he is standing on. And then you look at the Watcher, and he's in his traditional robes. This is fully sculpted. We're going to talk about that during design. And there's a tiny bit of a modern twist on this, which I actually like, because he looked pretty goofy, like a toga party person in some of the original comics. But he has his white dress with the blue sash and the blue cape. As you move up, you see he's actually holding the ultimate nullifier in his left hand. That's kind of badass. Again, I do like that as an option. Unfortunately, it's the only option, which we'll talk more about in a second. Here I have him. His arm is reaching out, kind of looking on, showing his power, watching the whole universe. And anyway, then I love his portrait. It looks like Benjamin Button, a really old baby, but it looks fantastic. His hood collar is in the background, and I think they captured the character perfectly. Not only did they capture it, but there's a few different display options that all look absolutely fantastic. So for concept-wise, I think it's great. It's cosmic. It shows the Watcher. I think the likeness to the actual comic character is pretty good. So I give it a 5 out of 5 on the concept. I am very impressed. Design, as I said, there's a few different display options, and I don't know what scale this is. So when we talk about scale, it's how big is it in relative to a real-life version. We saw the Watcher both big and small in the comics. But let's measure him really quick. So the base, the widest point, is probably about 17 inches, maybe a little bit under. The tallest point, his caped hood up here, is just at 28 inches. And then the deepest part is probably close to 16 inches. Now check out the unboxing and assembly really quick. Two large boxes. The weight was pretty negligible, actually. First one did have a pretty cool art box. While I'm not a big fan of art boxes, this one was awesome. Had all the different what-if stories on both sides of it, and even at the top of it, it had another picture of Watcher just like it did on the sides. Your traditional black custom foam. So that art box had two layers. This is the first layer, his cape and his right arm. And then the second layer was a bunch of heads, another arm, and the back collar to the statue. The other box didn't have an art box, as you can see here, and there was one layer. It was simply the body and the base, as you can see, and nothing was broken, which is fantastic. All right, number of display options, as you saw, there's 4 different portraits. Let's look at all those. First portrait, I think this is the most comic accurate one. He's very serious. And then you have one where he's really grumpy. I don't like this. This is going back in the box for me. Then you have one where he's kind of battle damaged and he's pissed. Different color eyes, and we'll look at all these closer during paint and sculpt. And then they have a Stan Lee tribute. This is really cool. While I would never display this, I'm not putting it back in the box because it's so cool. So here he is without the sunglasses, and then of course with his iconic sunglasses on as well. His right arm can be outstretched like we saw, or it can be folded in where he's pulling all of his robes in. I initially thought I wouldn't like the outstretched arm, but I do like that quite a bit better. I'm putting the other option back in the box. Now the left hand only has the ultimate nullifier. I think that's a miss in my opinion. I think they should have had a hand without that, because technically he didn't really have the ultimate nullifier. So I don't like that. Now, because everything's sculpted and his robe actually has 3 or 4 different parts to it, depending which switch out you're using, they have to go on top of each other. And honestly, it doesn't look the best from the back. So I'm not a fan of that. However, you can't see any of it from the front, so I'm not really going to fault them for that. That's really the biggest issue I could find with the design. And the fact that it's non-scaled, so I don't know exactly, I think it's supposed to be 1/4 scale, but he really changed sizes in the comics to my knowledge. So I give the design a 4 out of 5. I don't think it's perfect, but it's done pretty well. Now we're going to dive into the paint and sculpt on this guy, and some of it I really like, and some of it I don't. And this is kind of interesting because this is a character where you can't really add realism to it, like what would he look like in real life? But let me show you what I'm talking about. So let's look at all the portraits first, starting with Stan Lee. So I think the likeness is pretty spot on. I think it's actually better without the glasses, but you have those little holes if you take the glasses out. I think they did a great job. Hair could have been fine-tuned a little bit, especially back here. Almost looks like the print was off. But I think the skin is fantastic. His mustache is great. Bad paint on his teeth, but you typically don't notice that. So I think they did a nice job. I like the look of the glasses. The paint's not the cleanest up here, but overall pretty cool. Now this pissed off portrait with purple eyes and the damaged eye coming out. This looks great. I really like this. I think his frustration face goes well. I like the skin tones, and you'll see this on the other portrait we're going to look at, but really well done. And I think, like I said, the likeness of these is pretty good. The paint on the one I put back in the box on the eyes was a little sloppy. This is a little bit more clean. I like the pink in the lips and how he's pursed on the lips, but it's done well. He has a decal on his hood there, which I'm not a huge fan of decals on statues, but I like the cosmic effect it gives. So I'd rather have that than not have it. I'm not digging the back of his collar hood here. I'm not digging that. The rest has texture that this doesn't, and I'm trying to think of the right word. It looks sloppy. And I don't know if it's the paint or the print on it. But the nice thing is you never see that. So that's the good thing. Now, the rest of his uniform or costume or toga or dress or whatever you want to call it looks good. There's some good shading in there. I like how the texture that they gave is very kind of all over the place. It's not necessarily a patternized texture. And the same thing can be said about his dress here. The gold trim looks great on his gloves, his emblem, the ultimate nullifier. It's not too shiny, but not too dull. So they did a nice job. The rock down here looks great. Looks really, really good. Not only the sculpt of it, but I like the layering of the paint to really bring out that sculpt. Crater back here with a little bit different color to it, which is just a cool little Easter egg. The globe, I think this looks great. I like the cloud effect they added. The land masses are protruding, which is nice. This is really cool. It's almost a shame you don't get to see a lot of it. You do get to see, I'm right there. But yeah, so kind of a mix on the paint and sculpt. For the most part, it's pretty good. And the parts you're going to be looking at are done really well. So I'm a fan for sure. Starting with the paint, you know, I do like the skin color a lot. The robes, like we talked about, I think is fine. I think the paint, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 on the paint. I have seen better. When we talk about the sculpt, you know, there's a lot of cool detail on this. Other than some of the issues with his dress and some things I would have liked to see maybe on the back of the hood, I think the sculpt is a 4 out of 5 actually. So I'm very happy with that. Remember, 3 out of 5 means it's good. All right, so let's talk about value for this guy. First, the great thing is it's a character that's rarely done. And then when they did it here, the edition size, the ES, was only 38. Plus, he has tons of ties to the Fantastic Four, huge popular statue displays. There's not a lot of those characters out yet, but I suspect when they hit the MCU, there will be. So a lot of people would want him for the same reasons I do, to pair with Galactus and Fantastic Four and all that. He was $900, plus shipping was quite a bit if I remember. I think it was like $300 or $400 for shipping. So you're about $1,300 all in for this, but he is a big statue. And this is a little bit smaller than most licensed 1/3 scale. So I think the value is pretty good, especially for such a rare character, and it's done really well. I think the value is at least a 4 out of 5. Possibly, if he gets even more popular due to pop culture, he will be 5 out of 5. Recently, I did this video right here about what affects the statue value, so make sure to go check that out. Now, does he have the X factor? Is he a 5 out of 5 statue? Is he awesome? Is he amazing? You know, I wouldn't say he's awesome, amazing. I don't think he has the X factor. He's really cool, though. As I was waiting more and more, I have an empty spot for him. I got really excited that he's here. I really dig this guy. He's a strong 4 out of 5 overall. I really like it. I think it's going to complement the display fantastically, and I am really stoked to have him in my collection. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones, at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Please drop a comment. Again, it helps me and it helps the channel, and you could win something. Likes also help, so please do that. In the meantime, check out some of these other videos. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.